The Lord Jesus is actually pointing at two kind of groups where he was not happy with. And these two kind of groups were present in the temple of God in the Old Testament, according to the Old Testament church, the temple of God, and they were the Pharisees and the Scribes. Also the priests were naughty, but in this gospel he's focusing on these two groups, the Pharisees and the Scribes. The Israelite nation is made out of three groups: priests, Pharisees, and Scribes. Priests offering sacrifices for the remission of sins. Pharisees putting everything under the microscope, making sure everything is adhered to the letter, missing out nothing, checking every corner, every angle, every stop, every exclamation mark, checking the smallest details. Literal people, in other words. And the Scribes, the law writers. So the law writers and the Pharisees putting the law under the microscope. Both of them failed with the following. The Pharisees looked at everyone's fault except their own. The Pharisees looked at everyone's mistake and put it under the microscope in detail except their own mistakes. And the Scribes who wrote the law did not walk according to the law. So the Scribes failed walking and the Pharisees failed seeing. When we come to the house of the Lord, and when we start working in the house of the Lord, it requires something foundational. And this foundation applies at every place you may be. But since the Holy Bible talks about the temple, the house of the Lord, then I'll talk about the house of the Lord, and I'll go to your own houses as well. This foundational thing that is required from us, God will ask us of it, that is humility. Humility. Probably you've been hearing this word from this bishop a lot of times. Well, maybe because it's extremely important, that's why it's being repeated. Repetition of things signifies one thing: great importance. When you keep on repeating the same thing, you're sending a message saying it is extremely important, that's why I'm repeating it, to get it through to you. I'm seeking your attention. My beloveds, it requires humility in order to avoid being a Pharisee or ending up being a scribe. It requires humility. The problem, when we start doing it our way, when we start seeing things with our own eyes, when we start knowing things with our own intellectual capacity, you see, our intellect will take us to one place only, this realm. See, our brains, our understanding only works within this realm, cannot go outside of this realm. That's why we use the word understand. Understand is a compounded word, two in one, under the stand. So what is I understand? I'm saying to myself, I can only grasp, I can only fathom, I can only comprehend, I can only get what is under the stand of my intellectual level. Anything above the stand of my intellectual level, I cannot understand because it's above the stand, not under the stand. So when I I'm walking in the house of the Lord with my own eyes, with my own intellectual level, it's gonna take me to this realm and this realm only. What is this realm? Materialistic, tangible. So where will your intellect lead you to? It will lead you to one place, ending up being a materialistic, literal, selfish human being. Period. You use your head always, you'll end up a worldly person. You'll end up living in this world, for this world, nothing to do with Christ. Even though you are in His house and you call yourself a Christian, a baptized soul, receiving the body and the blood, but when you do things your way, you're saying to Jesus, sorry, I don't need you because I can manage. When the Lord came the first time, over 2,000 years ago, and He called the entire world, some accepted the calling, some rejected. You get invited to a wedding, sometimes you go, sometimes you don't. You miss out on a great party, mate. Well, it's not a party, but it's a party. The Lord called us all without any differentiation, all colors, all walks of lives, all tongues and nations. Some came, some refused. Those who accepted the calling and came to Him, you know what the Lord said to them that they must do before even starting to work for Him? Before you say, Lord, I came, what can I do for you? Before you do anything, my dear friend, you know what the Lord said? He said, you want to follow me? Bishop Mari, you want to follow me? Yes, Lord. Okay, you need to die. What? Yes, you need to die. But Lord, if I die, I can't work. If I die, I can't see. If I die, I can't hear. If I die, I can't think. If I die, I cannot do anything. I can't do nothing. He said, exactly. This is exactly what I want you to do. Absolutely nothing. Because the moment you start doing things your way in my house, you'll ruin it. So the only way to protect my house and you need to die. The dilemma of Christendom is moi. Me. This is the dilemma of the church. You could come and say, well, we have our theological indifferences. Yeah, I'll agree with you to somewhat degree. But the core of it, the foundation of it, the heart of the division is moi. Me. Why did the church split? This good-looking chair. Once Australia can get that trade back with China, it's very cheap to make. Mr. Hacha Wacha Tonga will do it for you for $10. The problem is the chair, the throne. The biggest schism in the church was because of the throne in 1054. If anybody comes and says, because I'm Peter, you're not, mate, get a life. Yes, get a life. Leave Peter alone, seriously. Leave Peter alone. Peter's got nothing to do with it. It's got to do with you. You've got a problem. You've got too much pride in you. That's the problem. If every church leader sought humility, you know how they would have fought with each other? They would have fought based on love. You know how they would have fought? This church leader would have come and said to the other church leader, said, this throne is yours. The other one said, no, 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 the throne is yours. No, no, please, the throne is yours. They would have fought. Everyone wants to give his throne to his brother, for his brother. That's how they would have fought. But no, when it's prideful, this is my throne. Anyone sits on it, I will plug him and throw him in the deep. That's the dilemma. So when you use your own intellect in the house of the Lord, your intellect will take you to this tangible realm, materialism. That's why the Lord Jesus said to the scribes and the Pharisees, you guys say it is okay to make any vows, against the temple, but it's not okay. But it's not okay, to make any vows that is to do with the offering. Or the altar, it's okay. Or, sorry, the temple, but it's not okay to make vows or to make an oath towards any gold or anything of precious value. He says, which is more valuable, the temple or the gold? It is the temple that makes gold. Gold. It is the altar that make the offering sacred. It is not the offering that makes the altar sacred. Their eyes went to gold and to offering. Because when you bring an offering, with the offering comes money. And gold is money, materialism. One of the temptations where the Lord was tempted when he fasted the 40 days and the 40 nights. The first temptation, when the enemy, the devil, came and tempted the Lord and said, if you are the Son of God, say to this stone to be bread. Say to this stone to be bread. The enemy is attacking your intellect. Why is he attacking your intellect? Because the enemy wants to draw your intellect. He wants to snatch your intellect and make it focus on bread. What is bread? Material. It's not talking about bread that you buy and eat. No. Bread here, everything of a materialistic nature is represented in the bread. So the enemy is trying to take your thinking, to take your intellect and make it focus on materialism. Why? Because if he wins and make you focus on materialism, he will take you away from God. You'll end up an earthly, worldly, materialistic person. God will not be present in your life. Money will be your God. Fame will be your God. Wealth will be your God. Prestigious life will be your God. Going on holidays, if we want to make it in a simple English. So all you're going to care about is, I want to have fun. I want to dress up in this way. I want to have all the brands. I want to eat, drink, jump. I want to go downtown and dance with somebody. Poor Whitney Houston. May I correct the lyrics? It is absolutely wrong to say, I want to dance with somebody. Somebody could be anybody. That is a very dangerous statement to claim. You need to specify who you want to dance with. And the only way for you to be safe and sound, you better dance with Jesus Christ of Nazareth.